Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, good afternoon. It's so good to see y'all. My name is Whitney Nicely. I'm from She Buys It and Whitney Buys Houses. I help women get their deals done, all right? And I help new real estate investors get their first deal done fast. So let's talk about some real estate investing tips today.
It's the biggest space for women to come and love on each other, to love making money, to love growing, and just to be together to support each other, because that's what it's all about. It's women helping women in real estate investing. You let it out, and it all comes back to you 10 times over.
Think of anything you can think of. What do you people want? Tell me what you want.
If someone would have told me when I was flipping 2 houses a year that I was going to flip 20, then 30, then 50, I'd have been like, I don't know how to do that. I'm barely getting 3.
I bring ladies that are doing deals up on stage so that they can share their success stories. We're doing deals. We are active real estate investors. To learn it from somebody real and to be able to talk to them and ask them questions afterward, I think that's invaluable. If you're already in real estate investing, there is a space for you here. If you're brand new, you can't hardly even spell real estate investing, there's a space for you here.
In Florida right now. My husband works in Florida. He lives in Georgia. I live in Tennessee. So we have a 3-state marriage situation going on, and it works for us. But one of the most important things that I can tell you, that I can teach you, is that it wasn't always this way. He didn't always work in Florida. He has always lived in Georgia, and I have always lived in Tennessee. But it hasn't always been the case that I could just go to Florida for the week and hang out with him. But it hasn't always been like that, all right? When we started dating, I was living in Knoxville and he was living outside of Atlanta in Douglasville. On Friday afternoons, because we had a long-distance relationship, I would want to take off and beat traffic going through West Knoxville, going through Chattanooga, beat Atlanta traffic, and I'd want to be like at his house when he got home from work, because when we started dating, he worked in downtown Atlanta and he had like an hour commute. Now he flies twice a week and then has a 10-minute commute. But when we started dating, I had a job. I worked for my mom's dump truck company outside of Knoxville, and on Friday afternoons at like, I don't know, noon, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go. And Mom was like, no, you need to stay in case something happens. So at 2 o'clock, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go on Friday afternoons. And my mom was like, no, you need to stay here at the office in case somebody calls or in case something happens with a truck, or you can't just leave on Friday afternoons. So at 3 o'clock, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go or I'm gonna be stuck in traffic. And my mom would be like, no, you really need to stay. You know, you have a 9-to-5 job, and that means even on Fridays, you need to be here until 5 o'clock. So at 4, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna like hit the road because I don't wanna be here anymore. It's Friday afternoon, I wanna get the weekend started. And my mom was like, no, you gotta stay. I pay you to work until 5, Monday through Friday. You have to be at this job at your desk in case something happens, and I need you on Friday afternoons. And I was like, there has to be a better way to make money than working this 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday. So one day I was at the office doing my 9-to-5, and my mom got her rent checks in the mail, and she started making a deposit. And I was like, what are you doing? Where did that money come from? She said, well, you know, I've got these houses that we rent out, and I get money every single month, and now I'm making my deposit. Well, how do I get rent checks? Because I was looking at the money she was depositing, and it was way more than I was making every single month at this job. So I decided I needed to get into real estate investing, because if I could figure out a way to make as much money outside of my job as I was making in my job, I could have Friday afternoons off. I could go on vacation whenever I wanted to. But first, I had to figure out how to do real estate investing. So I bought a piece of land and went through the process, because I'm very much I like to feel through things. I learn best when I'm doing something instead of just reading about it or hearing about it or listening to it, or I need to feel through all the emotions involved in it, right? I bought a little piece of land. It still does not make me any money, but I went through the process and I felt through it, okay? Then I bought another piece of land for $1,500 and I started renting it out for $750 a month. So every other month I was getting my full investment back, right? But $750 a month wasn't exactly replacing what I was making at my 9 to 5. So I started buying houses, and I bought a house with my entire life savings. I was making $800 a month plus the $750. I was getting close to what I was making every month, but then I had to split it with my brother because he was my real estate partner, because I bought another house and borrowed his life savings. So I had both of us all in on this real estate investing thing before I even knew what we were doing. I was really liking the buying side of things, and I liked that my money had doubled every month, but I still wanted to have my savings, and I wanted to buy stuff, and I wanted to keep going, and I wanted to grow my passive income to, even if I was splitting it with my brother, I would still have enough that I didn't have to go to my 9 to 5, right? I wanted to be able to make money no matter where I was, so that I could leave work on Friday afternoons. The best thing that ever happened was I went broke trying to get rich in real estate. I used every penny that I had available to me and my brother to get started, and I went broke. I was down to my last 75 bucks. And at that point, I learned about creative financing in real estate. And we went from doing 2 deals in the first year to I bought 14 houses in my second year of doing real estate investing, because I didn't need any money anymore. And because I found out how I could put $10 down, $10 as the earnest money, on a piece of property, a house, and I could sell it. And that first deal that I did with creative financing, I had the house under contract for $122,000. And I had 5 years before I had to pay these sellers off, and I was going to start making their monthly payment in June. But when I put the house out on Zillow for $145,000, I had a call immediately, and somebody offered me $135,000. So I had it under contract for $122,000. Somebody offered me $135,000 in cash, and I wasn't going to have to do all 5 years on my lease option. They were just going to buy it in a couple months. And I said, okay, that's fine, but what if you can't buy it in a couple months? What if your house doesn't sell, or, whatever? Why don't you rent this house from me until you can buy it? So I was planning on doing a sandwich lease option, what we call a sandwich lease option, because I was buying the house with a lease option. I had $10 at risk, and I was going to be taking over these people's monthly payments. And it was middle of March when I found these other people that wanted to take over that payment for me and buy it at the higher price. So I said, why don't you rent it $1,000 a month until you can close? And they were like, awesome. They gave me $3,000 the very first day I met these people. We hung out for an hour. They gave me $3,000. And then they called me later that week, and they were like, hey, our house in Chicago sold. We're going to have cash. We're going to be able to close out this deal middle of May. And I was like, okay, well, if not, we're still gonna do this lease option thing. If it takes 6, 7, 8 months, because sometimes in real estate things go crazy, you can still live there. They said, okay, no problem, whatever. Y'all, they started, because they were renting the house from me. They weren't living in the house, but they were moving from Chicago down to Dandridge, Tennessee. And I found that house, I found that seller on Zillow, just on Zillow for sale by owner. I called them, I made some offers. We met that night, we signed the paperwork. This is February 28th. By the middle of March, I found these other people from Chicago who wanted to move down to Dandridge. And they said, we'll close the middle of May. And I said, all right, fine, but, I want you to go ahead and pay for March, April, and May. That's the $3,000 they gave me, $1,000 a month, so that they could move their stuff down at their leisure and not have to, do that whole shuffle of making sure the house is empty and then making sure that it all gets moved in safe. They wanted to just slowly move everything down. So I said, fine. Probably 6th, 7th, 8th of May, they called me. They were like, hey, we sold our house. We're on our way. We can close middle of May. They brought a cashier's check for $135,000 to closing. I had the house under contract for $122,000. So that day at closing, I made $13,000. $13,000 for 8 weeks of work, and it only took me about 5 hours between meeting the sellers, getting the contract signed, meeting with the buyers, getting their contract signed, going to the attorney's office and doing the closing. All in, all total, had about 5 hours involved, and I made over $15,000 because I ended up paying closing costs. Okay, so I had $3,000 from doing the rent so that they could move on into the house, and $13,000 was the difference between the $122,000 and the $135,000. I made $15,000 in 8 weeks, and I gotta tell y'all, when I was working for my mom, I was making $2,000 a month. So I made almost 8 months of my salary with my very first deal. Y'all better believe I hit the ground running, all right? I closed another deal, made $8,000 in 2 or 3 weeks, closed another deal, made $3,000 in another 2 or 3 weeks, did another deal, made another $10,000. I mean, I was all over the place for the next 9 months. I made $136,000 doing deals just like that on nice, pretty, happy houses with nice, pretty, happy people. All right, and we call that, it started out as a lease option, and sometimes I did do a full lease option where people gave me the option fee. They moved in, we went for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Some of them I still have under contract from that very first year because my 5 years, my 10 years aren't up yet, and I'm still doing the lease option. Other houses ended up like that first one. We call it a wholesale deal because I got it for kind of a wholesale price, not like a full wholesale, but then I sold it at a retail price, okay? And you can do this. These people, the house is worth $135. They owed $122. So I got it under contract for what they owed on it. If I was gonna be wholesaling that house, there's not enough spread there to pay a private money lender and to do anything but double close on it, all right? Which I could have done, but these people knew I was making money. They didn't care that I was making money, and so we just did an assignment for it. If I was doing a wholesale though, I would have had to offer them cash like $85,000 or $90,000, but they owed, they told me they owed $122. Turned out they only owed $117. So I could have gotten it for lower, but I got the deal done, so it's totally fine. What I'm saying is, if you're out there trying to wholesale deals and you only know how to make lowball cash offers, you are shooting yourself in the foot, quite honestly. Because I don't know anybody who loves being lowballed. People don't like being lowballed. People accept lowball offers, and they do it all the time for lots of different people-y reasons, but they don't like it. And when you're looking at only making cash offers, you're completely eliminating a huge chunk of the market who have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in equity in their house that you could get. But you have to know how to effectively, legally, and morally take over their payments, do a lease option. You have to know how to do that. You have to know how to put that paperwork into place, or you're just killing your leads and you're killing your deals, all right? In First Deal Done Fast, I teach the girls how to make 3 offers on every house. Yeah, we make cash offers. We make low cash offers because every great once in a while, somebody is ready and willing to take 50 cents on the dollar. A lot of wholesalers, when they find people that they owe $122,000 on a $135,000 house, a lot of wholesalers, a lot of new real estate investors walk away from that deal like, I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to make money off that because you're too close. I can't double close it. I can't cash it out. I can't find a private money lender. It doesn't make enough money. I mean, I was getting $1,000 a month for rent, so it doesn't make enough money to like be a buy and hold. But if you know how to wholesale, if you know how to make a lease option offer for 5 years and a lease option offer for 10 years, if you know how to get the house under contract and then sell that contract, don't sell that house, sell that contract. All right, that's what I want you to get in the habit of. That's what I want you to be a master of. Real estate agents sell houses for other people. And I'm a broker for Whitney Buys Houses. I know what it takes to be a real estate agent, and I know how little money they make, okay? As a real estate agent, I'll tell you, I have never made $15,000 on a listing. A lot of times they got to do 3 or 4 to make $15,000. I did it on one deal in 8 weeks with 5 hours worth of work involved. And you can do it too, but you have to get creative. You have to start learning different ways to get houses under contract, to control the house with a $10 investment or a $1 investment or a $100 investment. Like, it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars in earnest money. It just needs to be a vested interest. That's what I teach women how to do. That's what I've done. That's how I've done the last 70 some odd deals in the last 3 or 4 years. We control houses. That's how you can go from no deals to 7 deals in a year. That's how I went from 2 deals to 14 deals in a year. And you can do it too. Do this for me right now. You're watching this? Down below in the comments, I want you to try this, all right? Whether you're a new investor, whether you're a hopeful investor, whether you're a super duper experienced investor, down below in the comments, I want you to type, I am a successful real estate investor. All right, down in the comments, that's what I want you to type. I am a successful real estate investor. And I want you to tell yourself that, whether you are a newbie, or whether you are a hopeful investor, or whether you are a super successful real estate investor, go ahead and start living that, telling yourself that, and tell the world. Type it down below. Say, I am a successful real estate investor. Type it down below in the comments. I want to see y'all. I am a successful real estate investor. All right? You tell yourself that 15,000 times a day until you make $15,000 a day, or $15,000 a month, or $15,000 every 8 weeks. It doesn't matter to me. You want to be a successful real estate investor? Start telling yourself that you are a successful real estate investor, and that will help you mentally become a successful real estate investor. So type it down below. Say, I am a successful real estate investor. All right, 5 years ago when I started investing, I couldn't have been in Florida right now on this beautiful day, hanging out at a hotel while my husband's out doing his job and I'm here doing my job. I couldn't have done this when I got started. And honestly, for the first 2 or 3 years that I was a real estate investor, I couldn't do it because I was hustling and I was doing all the things that you have to do to become a real estate investor, a successful real estate investor. But over time, I built up my passive income. I built up my rental portfolio. I built up my wholesale deals, my lead pipeline. I built all of that up until I can say that I am a successful real estate investor. And that's what I want for you. A lot of you are dealing with people that don't believe you're going to be a successful real estate investor. That's fine. Type it down below right here. Say, I am a successful real estate investor. Put that out into the world. Give it to God. Put it out to the universe and say, start declaring it right here, right now, today. Type it in the comments down below. I am a successful real estate investor. And then say it 15,000 times a day to yourself until you start believing it, until you can tell the sellers that, until you can tell the buyers that, until you can tell the attorneys that, and until you can tell your accountant, I am a successful real estate investor. And if you say it enough, if you type it enough, if you write it enough, if you believe it enough, it won't take long before you turn around twice and you will be living as a successful real estate investor. Y'all get out there, get your deals done. I love you. Let me know if you have any questions, but type that down below. I am a successful real estate investor. I want you to be a successful real estate investor. Get those wholesale deals done, get those hotel deals done, get those buy and hold deals done, get all of your deals done fast, y'all, because you are a successful real estate investor. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if I can help you. See y'all later.